and the challenges of protectionism, we can speed up the signing of a free trade agreement.
Today, there's expected to be a high-profile financial services deal. Critics have suggested UK-Sino relations have been too close for comfort, but Theresa May, like David Cameron before her, is talking about a golden era of cooperation.
A British financial trader has admitted helping to trigger a multi-billion-pound fall in the value of shares on Wall Street. Navinder Singh Sara, who's 37 from West London, appeared in court in Chicago wearing leg shackles. US officials say he made tens of millions of pounds by using a computer program to manipulate share prices. The judge told him he faces up to 30 years in jail. Banks planning to shut high street branches have promised to inform customers more quickly and offer specialist advice to help vulnerable and elderly clients adjust to the change. The British Bankers Association has agreed to the recommendations set out in an independent review of how branch closures are handled. Here's our personal finance correspondent, Simon Goldbergs.
1,700 bank branches have gone in the UK in recent years, and hundreds more are earmarked for closure. So an independent expert, Professor Russell Briggs, was commissioned by the industry to review its code on shutting them. He doesn't argue against closures because so many people are doing their banking on mobile phones. He says the loss of a branch can be like a bereavement. Better warning and assistance is needed. Banks will have to give explanations immediately on announcing a branch is to go. Then, after meeting customers, give details of measures to lessen the impact. Specially trained staff will be parachuted in, with particular emphasis on helping elderly customers.
The number of golden eagles in Scotland has increased by 15% in the past decade. The latest survey shows there are more than 500 breeding pairs. The bird of prey is now considered to be out of danger in the UK. Our Scotland correspondent, Colin Blaine.
The golden eagle used to be a familiar sight on the hills and moorland of much of rural Britain. But like many birds of prey, this magnificent creature was severely persecuted by egg collectors and gamekeepers in Victorian times. As a result, the golden eagle's range was rolled back. The last English eagle disappeared from the Lake District earlier this year. But the story in Scotland is a happier one. Numbers are going up again. 440 breeding pairs were recorded in 2003. This latest survey found 508 pairs. The wildlife charity, the RSPB, says there's been a turnaround in public respect for the golden eagle and stronger sanctions against wildlife crime.
Researchers in Scotland say scouts and guides appear to have a lower risk of mental illness in later life. The evidence comes from a lifelong survey of nearly 10,000 people born in 1958. Those who joined the scouts or guides were 15% less likely to have suffered from anxiety or mood swings by the time they were 50. And a short time ago, England's cricketers had reached 509 for 8 in the second first test against India.
Thank you, Zeb. It's now 8:10. After one extraordinary day, another. In a few hours' time, Donald J. Trump will walk into the White House to meet the man whose legitimacy he questioned, whose policies he trashed, whose legacy he is pledged to destroy. Barack Obama, let's remember, told American voters that the man who's now president-elect was unfit for high office. The two men will no doubt pledge to work together for the good of the country, even as protesters take to the streets across the United States. Jim Naughton is in Washington this morning.
Just round the corner from the White House, where Donald Trump will come today to talk about the transition of power. President Obama said it would be smooth and gracious, unlike the campaign we've just seen, and pleasantries will certainly be exchanged by two grown-ups. But what awaits the president-elect in this town, a place that's built for the needs of a political establishment that he says he abhors, and one that is jealous of its power networks, where outsiders are sometimes unwelcome. And with Dan Boltz, who's chief correspondent of the Washington Post. And Dan, in a sense, he will quickly become an insider, because he has to, won't he?
Well, the president is the ultimate insider of the capital of the free world, right? I mean, inevitably he will be. But it's not the first time that somebody has come to Washington threatening to change Washington. I mean, Ronald Reagan brought a revolution, a conservative revolution to Washington. And when he arrived in 1981, this town was on edge and uneasy about what it would mean. This is a town that has its customs and its ways and doesn't like being disrupted. For Donald Trump, the interesting thing is he ran as somebody who said, I'm going to shake things up. On the other, he's a deal maker. He has spent his life making deals, and Washington is a town of dealers.
And he's used lobbyists in this town all his business life.
He talked throughout the campaign. I used to be an insider. I used to give them money, and I knew that it worked because when I gave them money, they would listen to me. In a sense, what he's saying to his supporters, I understand the inside, but now I'm going to be there fighting for you and not for the special interest.
Dan Bowles, Chief Correspondent of the Washington Post. And now I'm joined by one of the first members of the House of Representatives to join the Trump bandwagon, in a sense, early this year, Congressman Ted Yoho of the 3rd District in Florida, who was very early in the game. And remind me why it was, Congressman, that you believed at that stage, when so many people were being quite dismissive of Mr. Trump, that in your view he had what it took.
Well, being a political outsider myself, we ran a grassroots effort, and we grabbed a hold of the anti-establishment rhetoric coming out of politicians, out of Washington. And what we saw was where politicians led us where we're at, where they failed to prevent it. Donald Trump had captured that same sentiment 4 years later, actually 2.5 years later is when he entered. And the thing that I saw that he was going to succeed in this is the grassroots effort that was developing. The day he announced, we saw handmade signs going up, Trump for president.
Donald Trump's argument, made the point by the outside, has been, with me, you will get what I say I will do. I want to. Do you believe that all the things he's said in his campaign, some of which are pretty tough, and to some people pretty difficult to accept, he is going to carry through?
The thing he's got with him right now is he's got the American people behind him. By himself, he can't do anything, but with the support of the American people, a small majority of the House and the Senate, he can get a lot done, and I look forward to helping him achieve those things.
Well, you say he's got the support of the American people, he's got the support of the votes in the states and the electoral college. It looks as if he doesn't have the support of the majority of those voting. So he's got to be aware that he's leading a divided country, and what you say to people outside the United States, for example, people unpick the Iran-nuclear deal, unpick climate change actions, in Paris after years of negotiation with that isn't something that can be done automatically, but if it is done automatically, there will be costs to the United States. Here's a deal maker. Surely he realizes that he's got to negotiate these things. He can't just say, well, I'm doing this, we're walking away.
You got to think of what President Obama did. He did this pretty much unilaterally. He bypassed the Senate on these arrangements, whether it was Iran or climate change, which are really treaties in essence. They're not binding because of the way this president did this. And if you go back to what Mr. Trump said in his victory speech last night, I thought it was very astute. He said that, winning the election does not really mark the achievement. We're going to invest in America's infrastructure. This is something that the rhetoric in Washington and the previous administration, they talked a great game, but the jobs are not here as far as building our infrastructure. The other thing he said is he's going to work to have great relationships, strong relationships with all nations. He threw the caveat, if they choose to. And I think what you're seeing is a presidential leadership that's all-encompassing and bringing people to the table. That's where we've seen a difference, and I've seen with Mr. Trump, even though he doesn't have the popular vote, he'll have the support of Congress behind that. And that
Time saver travel.
The Oxfordshire Traffic Control Centre, where technology is not a bad word there either. 50 on screens in front of them. How right.
Yes, to the foremost here. Expect delays at the end of the roundabout and traffic lights on board on all sides, so please approach with caution and care. Looking at a lengthy queue now coming into the A40 London Road towards Smithsonian Park and right from around Wheatley. Eastern bypass a bit waiting at the approach as well, as is the A40 Northern bypass and close to the Bayswater Road. So please do take extra care on your approach. There is an engineer on site who's busily working on the link there and trying to get it all sorted out. So as soon as we get it back on, we will let you know on that. Elsewhere, southbound looking better when we approach to junction line and the A34 southbound. That broken down car underneath the gantry has been towed to safety down into a nearby lay-by, so traffic looking a lot better there. But further southbound, very, very patchy from Pear Tree to Hinsey, thanks to Keane for the